Plant and process, power and process market is a good one, and I think that's a trajectory we like to follow, where people have used a lot of our products historically in that market. We have many customers in power and process, and now what we're doing is building some tools that are more appropriately built for that customer set. It's purpose-built for what they want to do. I think if you want to just look at the pattern, that's what you should look for, the places where we are, where people already use our tools, and the tool that they use may not be as purpose-built as it could be. I think if you look at some of the other things that are more peripheral, directionally where we're headed, I think there are two big ones. One as big as the simulation and analysis, and that's kind of across the board. And whether we're talking about media, entertainment, or AEC, or manufacturing, more simulation, more analysis is something we believe, because for the last half a dozen years or so, we've been busy building tools that help people build models. Once you've started to build a model, the way you get value out of it is you start doing analysis and simulation with it. So we're going to provide more tools that do analysis and simulation. I think at the other end of the spectrum, we're trying to figure out ways to reach broader audiences. So for example, I love that Sketchbook mobile application. When you think about it, 1 million people in 2 months have downloaded this thing. By the way, I had nothing to do with it. It's one of these things where, a bunch of smart people just went off, a handful, and said we can make it run on the iPhone, and they did, and 1 million people have downloaded. I'm interested in Project Cooper. I'm interested in what we're doing in the thing that was shown with Seek and Dragonfly and Showroom. I'm interested in the collaboration that I showed today with the co-editing, the Autodesk co-editing. All those things where you can reach a different segment. Some places it's customers who would be new customers to us, and in many places it's customers of our customers. And those are the places where I'm also interested in. I think those are kind of distinct, but those are the places where you're likely to see us go.
Carl, I can do anything in Revit, and I think it's a great program.
Yeah.
I didn't see much talk about it today out on the field. Is that because, did I understand before that less dollars are being put in that area because of the economy?
No, we're actually, if you look at the R&D budget in the AC, it's identical to last year.
But usually don't you usually show where you think Revit is, where your Revit is going?
I think if you watch the AC main stage, Jay and Phil and team are going to be talking all about Revit. I think what we try to do today, certainly at the main stage, was talk about technology trends that generally spanned multiple disciplines. We have a room full of people, and what we were trying to do is make it as general as possible and leave the opportunity at, for example, the manufacturing main stage or the AC one to speak specifically about it. One of the things that I've certainly got anecdotally is people don't want to see Revit on the main stage and Revit again and Revit, so it's, and the cool things that happen in a product, you don't need to repeat it 3 times. The people who are interested will go there. And, and truth be told, we'll hear about it from people more expert than me to tell them about, Revit. If you look today, you actually didn't see much Inventor on the stage. Jeff and I definitely tried to take the tack of these are the general trends we see, and a lot of what we talked about today, things about web-based computing, how we can use the computer to really help inform design decisions. I think those are more important issues, and they also span most of the disciplines.
So Revit's going to have some more features in it in this upgrade.
Revit has a ton of stuff in it.
We have time for one more short question. Who wants the last one?
Nobody wants to do that over there. Someone's willing to take a short question.
Is this on?
Yes.
Yeah. The Project Twitch you were talking about, the distributor providing software by a video stream. Is that something you're architecting yourself, or are you partnering with some of the companies that are trying the same thing in video games?
Yeah, so we're partnering with a company to do Project Twitch specifically. The company is called OnLive. It's a company that was started by Steve Perlman, and we've been working with Steve and his team for a while, and we're actually investors in it, in OnLive. But I'd also say, there's a handful of other companies out there, exploring other similar technologies. Steve has a very, very clear purpose in mind around gaming, and we saw that was kind of reciprocal with our needs. But you can see there's a handful of small startups. There are companies like HP and Citrix doing similar things, Microsoft. So it is definitely a viable way of delivering applications. And so we're looking at that and trying to compare it with some of the other techniques, which I think are also valuable. And I think somewhat it's, if you just think about it, it's a hedge on the future, where what you have to think about, and I'm not smart enough to know the answer to this, but when you look, there are advocates, some might even call them bigots, who argue strongly about either desktop software or web-based software. Web-based software world, where it becomes pure web-based, in the limit, the device at your desktop goes down to nothing. It becomes your TV, it becomes your cell phone. If you think about how to most efficiently, economically efficiently, deploy computing resources, it doesn't make much sense. You think about it, gratuitous iPhone, right? We were joking last night, Amory and I were sitting around and saying, when we first both started working with computers, this iPhone probably has more computing power than the Strategic Air Command had. It was defending the United States with less computing power than your iPhone. When you think about it that way, and the fact that you can now take a notebook computer for several $100, desktops for several $100, the need to push that to zero, given the capabilities you can get there, it's not obvious. So while it's clear that there are limitations in what you can do with a pure desktop model, I think there are also limitations that will make it not as affordable. And I think while I'm leaning towards the web-based computing side, I still think you will have relatively intelligent devices, whether they be iPhones or netbooks, that have huge amounts of processing power, that are close to the place where the work is done. And I think because of that, we're exploring various technologies that try to capitalize on the relative strengths of those different models.
Still need the graphics horsepower.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's cheap to deploy here.
Okay, so that concludes our Q&A session with Carl. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, Carl, for your time.